Hi, welcome to the OfficeX App Integration Guide for Developers. In this video, we're going to learn how to implement OfficeX into any app in just 2 minutes, and we're going to look at the different methods of implementation. But first, what is OfficeX? Let's take a look at our demo video. Anonymous OfficeX is a permissionless workspace. 100% open source, includes storage, spreadsheets, documents, and more. Anyone can add a Google Drive and Microsoft Word-like experience into their app with the developer SDK. And all this is available 100% free. So let's take a look at the deck. So this will be a quick start primer on how to add OfficeX, and it's super easy. Getting started with OfficeX is really easy. All you have to do is call the quick start function, and you'll be able to create a new organization and add as many members as you want all at once. You can also do this in distinct steps which you can see in the REST API advanced section, but this is the easy quick start. And then it'll give you some login information, and then you can actually just inject that into an iframe here using this content window.post message. And then that will render. We can actually see it in code sandbox here, this demo. Here is the iframe code, and then you can see kind of like the same scripts code here with the quick start. But let's just take a look. So if I click quick start here, it'll run it, and then you can see here that it has rendered the iframe for me as well. All right, so this quick start actually runs the code, and if you want, you can actually come here and like copy the code like this as is. Same with the React iframe. So first, why build with OfficeX from the developer's perspective? Now, your mainstream option is something like Google Drive or OneDrive, which most users know. It's pretty understandable, but they have very strict rental rules. You are following by Google or Microsoft's rules. Whereas with OfficeX, it's free, open source, a seamless user experience with zero learning curve. It just works. So you get all the features of Google Drive, Microsoft Office out of the box, 100% open source and white label. Setup time in terms of Google Drive, usually it's pretty complicated with OAuth 2 and then having to create a cloud account. Whereas with OfficeX, it's totally permissionless, 2-minute install, very simple, and you're just using regular API keys. Now the limitations, with Google Drive, there are rate limits and you have to request increases for your app and pass the KYC. Aside from the complex auth grants, there's also no UI or UX customization, whereas with OfficeX, it's totally permissionless, no rate limits, unlimited accounts, including for enterprise, and 100% open source. For developers, Google Drive cannot be white labeled or very deeply integrated, and again, there are those strict rules, whereas with OfficeX, it can be full white label with granular control over data. And then finally, while both solutions are free, again, Google Drive does have KYC rate limits, whereas OfficeX is free, unlimited enterprise. So it's a superior experience for developers, and by extension, your users, as you can easily give them the full experience within your app. It's easy to add OfficeX, just a simple iframe Lego, and you can have workspaces in your app within 2 minutes. Instant file storage as well, no user auth needed even, and it's all permissionless battle-tested code with robust unit testing to ensure quality. The developer REST API is also available. It's powerful, scalable, and simple without maintenance, and you will see in our public cloud later. Again, strong, reliable unit tests, and just a granular control over the user experience and data. There are 3 integration paths to add OfficeX, and they are: 1, ephemeral offline, which is the easiest mode. It's purely client-side and free forever. Then there's grant existing, where users bring their own OfficeX account, and then they grant you permission to it, and it's very lightweight also, 15-minute setup. And then finally, the managed cloud, which is recommended for most use cases. If you don't know which one to use, definitely use the managed cloud because you can't go wrong with it. It allows for deep integrations, but it's also very easy to set up. This says 2-hour setup, but it can be as quick as 15 minutes. Seamless user experience and granular control. And then as we go through the slides, you're going to hear a lot of these concepts get repeated, which is really good because then it's really easy to understand. So ephemeral offline mode, what is it, right? It's the Google Drive and Google Docs, Google Sheets experience as a pure client-side offline iframe. So say you're a YouTube downloader, very easy to just add the iframe in, and you can actually, from the parent component, inject files, create folders, and manage and the drive and give your users an amazing experience. 2 minutes to set up, zero cost, zero dependencies, and users can always connect to the free public cloud if they want. Now the cons is that there is less control because you have no backend, but again, users can connect to the free public cloud if they want. So this is great if you're like a single-use tool like a YouTube downloader, or you're like a temporary AI agent and you just want to wrap up your findings into like an easy encapsulated Google Drive alternative. And you would use this when you want maximum convenience and the free offline capabilities. Now, option 2 is grant existing. It's when users bring their own OfficeX workspace and then grant apps like yours access. Now, this is great because it connects to their world, right? If they already have an account, then you can like access their files. It's less dev work on your end, and there's no user management needed. The cons is that it does need the user's permission. So that's why we recommend that you actually go with the managed cloud, because then you can create an OfficeX for them. Now, when would you use this? You use this when you need access to their pre-existing data, like for example, AI chat with their files. And in most cases, it's actually better to provide an OfficeX account for them. So yeah, you would just use this when you need their pre-existing data. Okay, and then finally, let's look at the main option, the recommended one, which is the managed cloud. So this is a managed cloud on behalf of users with free unlimited usage on that public cloud or self-host on a single Docker container. It provides a seamless user experience with full control, and it costs $0 to scale this to as many users as you want with our free public cloud, with reliable quality and white label available. Now, if you are fully self-hosting, then the cons are that you do need to maintain the instances with security updates, and you have user liability data, which we will cover later. So that's why we recommend that you use our free public cloud. So this is recommended for 80% of use cases. It's very powerful composability. So from lightweight, whether you're a lightweight plugin or you need like a deep product integration, managed cloud works very well. So yeah, choose this in most cases as your default choice, as it offers a seamless user experience with granular control. Now let's really understand the trade-offs, which is the control versus liability trade-off for workspaces and profiles, right? So in OfficeX and in Google Drive, there's this concept of a workspace, and then within there are many profiles, users, that you can grant different permissions to. There's admins and such. You can get both of those, the workspace and the profiles, as users bring their own, like their own accounts and their own workspaces, or within your control, a developer white label. So on that spectrum, this is what it looks like. Right, so users bring their own. There's the bicycle. Offline would be right in the middle because, there's actually no cloud at all. And then finally, the managed cloud. So if you want more control, you do take on more liability for user data, the server costs, etc. So that's just the trade-off. Now let's actually look at the dangers of self-hosting and custody. Right? What are the true costs? Well, there's the cost, right? Like if you everything from here on, we're just going to talk about managed cloud. Right? We're done talking about grant existing, ephemeral, offline. This is just managed cloud now. So if we in this managed cloud, we want to offer white label, right? We can offer white label for either the workspaces or the user profiles, or both. But what are the true costs, right? There is the infrastructure costs, just even setting up and maintaining the backend, and then the unexpected scaling expenses when you have a lot of users. Then there's the maintenance, the upkeep, the security patches, and just more development work. And then finally, the liability. You're controlling user accounts. You're responsible, both legally and as a fiduciary responsibility to your users. So there's a lot of risk in self-hosting. And that's why we provide our free public cloud, which is encrypted and secure. It's public, but it's actually fully private, right? Everything is encrypted. So perks, it's free, unlimited forever. There's no strings attached. We protect you from any DDoS bills while still providing permissionless access. So anyone can use it all over the world. There's no limit to how many users you can use for free. This also gives you zero maintenance scaling. If you have 1 million users, you don't have to worry about supporting them a whole Google Drive product, right? It's like a train, right? You wouldn't buy a whole train or build your own train if there's already cheaper infrastructure that gets it done for you. And OfficeX is 100% open source. But the free public cloud is great because it gives you this zero maintenance scaling, zero config composability, seamless user experience, and no developers distractions. And then finally, protection from liability, right? So that means that we are responsible for data integrity, global compliance, and keeping everything safe and secure because it's hosted by us for free and no cost to you. You can self-host fully if you want, but again, there are the trade-offs, right? So that's the trade-off that you have to make or decide on. Now, we mentioned both workspaces and user profiles can have this like trade-off between control and liability. But let's dig into it, right? Like what are the two types of users, right? So there are sovereign users and there's custody users. What does this mean, right? So sovereign users are users that bring their own OfficeX profiles, which on OfficeX, a user ID is actually a crypto wallet, right? So it's a very it's just like a universal way to manage user IDs with cryptography. Now, custody users are also crypto wallets, but they're actually profiles managed and owned by you on behalf of users. So, like if each user has a crypto wallet with its own seed phrase and that represents them as a user, sovereign users would be, for example, a user that like connects their external crypto wallet. But it's a much better experience when you custody the users, and then that way, like you have full control, better user retention, and you can give them a really great experience. Use the REST API as well behind the scenes. Now, sovereign users are nice because there is less dev work and no user management needed. But like in most cases, you do want to custody users, and it's very easy, right? And it's not like they have that much money in the wallets. Like OfficeX users can permissionlessly buy external storage if they want. You can also provide your users free storage. That's fine too. But we have like a permissionless gift card store where users can pay for their own storage. Bulk pricing, very affordable. It's about like $1 for 100 gigabytes. Now, the cons of the sovereign users: less control and users can leave easily. Whereas with custody users, you get all these benefits, but it is slightly more work and you are responsible for their private keys, but it's really not too bad. So when would you use sovereign users? Usually when you need access to their existing profiles and stuff, or maybe like just like a lightweight extension. But really, in most cases, you do want to be custodying user. It gives you that deep product integration and white labeling. And again, the seamless branded experience. All right. Oh yeah, and then one other thing is like sometimes you can like gain more users if you let them be sovereign, let them bring their own accounts. So that does help with like growth. But even then, like it's like users typically like the out of box experience. So I think like it's not too daunting for you to be custodying users. That's what we recommend. Now, in terms of workspaces, this is like the actual organization, the works in the cloud. We highly recommend that you use the free public cloud. It's a free managed cloud from OfficeX for your users' files, like our organization. So we take care of all like the backend needs. It's no cost, easy setup, no server maintenance, regular updates. A lot of pros. A lot of these we've covered already, right? Self-hosted, it's nice, but you get a lot of maintenance and such. Now, this is good if you're a very big company, but in most cases, the public cloud really works for you. So public cloud, really, it says community platforms and quick prototype single-use tools, but really, it's for almost every use case. Self-hosted, I would recommend against it unless you have like enterprise privacy needs that demand that you self-host on your own servers. Eventually, OfficeX will be SOC 2 compliant as well, and still 100% open source. So yeah, use self-hosted if you need that full control and security over sensitive data, but for everyone else, really, the public cloud is great to offer the full cloud features without any infrastructure costs. So here is the integration compass, depending on who you are. So like the axis is the public cloud versus the self-hosted, and then the y-axis is the users. And in like the vast majority of cases, we're really recommending that you go with the public cloud custody users, right? Public cloud custody users. That gives you that seamless user experience, zero cost scaling, and all the cryptography privacy guarantees. So you can have this set up in 15 minutes. Mapping users is also really easy. All you have to do is just take your existing user ID, and then you can add any secret string you want. And this creates an entropy, which is like kind of like a hash or a salt, which you can use to generate a crypto identity. And then this will give you an OfficeX user that you can use. So it's very easy to apply this for all your users. Now, this is using a convenience REST API, but you can actually run this yourself on your own server, or you can even in your own code, which I'll show you how later. So here are some common flows that you'll use. You can use our SDK, or you can call the REST API directly. Create org, add a contact, upload a file, and then other flows like searching across your organizations, creating permissions, or archiving your organization. Archiving is really cool because you can create unlimited OfficeX accounts and then archive them. And then that gives you just like a text file. And then at any time, you can just load up that text file and have like a fully encapsulated OfficeX workspace. So this is really great if you're like a school or like an app developer. So these are the common flows, and the full documentation is available on our various websites, dev.officex.app for the REST API documentation. You can try out the demo sandbox at iframeofficex.app. And then if you need public support, you can research on Twitter, x.com, OfficeX or enterprise support, admin at OfficeX.app. You can also see our GitHub on OfficeX on github.com/OfficeXapp. Here's our TypeScript repo where you can see like the types used in the REST API. And then if you want to like see what the server is doing, here's the TypeScript server. We also have a Rust server for Internet Computer. So it's 100% open source. You can see everything. Let's actually take a look at the iframe. So here at iframe.officex.app, there's an easy demo. If you want the ephemeral mode, you can just copy this iframe code here and have it ready in 2 minutes. So here's OfficeX in the child app, and then let's actually use it in ephemeral mode. So this is just for demo. Also, all this code is on GitHub as well. Click ephemeral mode, and then what it'll do is it's created a iframe OfficeX.app demo organization. Here's our demo profile, and all this is like usable offline. So for example, if we go into the iframe controls, let's get some info. All right, let's create a folder here, and then we can refresh and you can see the folder in there, and that actually has a folder ID which we can use here, and we can create a file, or we can also upload a file. That works too. But if we go into it, there you can see there's the PDF that got made. So all this is possible offline, and then you can also do navigation, right? If I want to go to settings, or if I want to go to a specific URL, I can insert it here. It's very easy actually to do this all ephemerally and offline, and the full documentation is here. Actually, let's also take a look at the other use cases. First, I actually need to make the organization. So here we have our fresh OfficeX, and we're going to create an account workspace. So now we have this sovereign workspace on the free public cloud. And then if you go into settings here and scroll down, there's actually a copy iframe code. If you click this auth JSON, you can copy this JSON, and this is actually what the managed cloud looks like, is this JSON file with an API key, which can be a temporary API key also. I mean, you would inject it into your iframe. Now, this UI is just for a demo. Everything would be done programmatically. So now I can inject it, and then you can see that I am now inside sovereign org. But now if I go here into contacts, I'm actually going to create a contact here, and then if I go here and I refresh, you can see it is synced. Right. Now if I make another organization, it will not be available in the iframe because I have not given permission to use it. But let's say I do want to use this other org. All right, and then just for proof, we'll also, what we can do is we can use grant existing. So if I click that, here I can grant access to an existing org, give it its own API key, and it has brought us back to the iframe here with the credentials that we can use. Okay, great. So now let's take a look at the rest of the iframe demo. Here in the examples appendix, there's also just like a quick chart that shows you different use cases and what kind of pattern you would use. Again, for most, you should use the managed cloud, the free public one. Now, if you're curious about, like, for example, how to like create those identities, remember we had this slide about generating a user from your existing user. You can actually also see that here in generate crypto identity. So let's say like, I have user 123, and then my secret is secret, right? Click generate crypto identity. You will get an ICP user ID, which is like the main user ID used in OfficeX, an Ethereum or EVM compatible public key and private key. This is its own crypto wallet as well. Now, all this can be done offline as well. You don't have to use the SDK or the REST API. You can even like copy the code, like take a look at our open source code and implement it yourself. All right, this is just a convenience function. Here you can also see our frequently used scripts. This is in a code sandbox, so go ahead and like you can reference and copy it here. Actually, if you want, you can also run the script here, upload a CSV following this CSV format, and then you can actually just bulk generate logins. Oh, I think you have to open this in code sandbox actually. Okay, great. So now we have the CSV, and let's actually open this in OfficeX. Take a look at what this CSV's got for us. Okay, and then, yeah, this is what it's generated. You have your original data, but then here's your OfficeX organization ID, the user ID, and then this is an auto login link. So if I copy this and I paste it, it will automatically log the user in. So now you can see we've created this super org. There's the owner. So that's the magic of the bulk login scripts. And you can actually look at the code and you can see the exact series of REST API calls that are used to do these things like bulk generate the orgs and such. You can see the REST API calls here. Very simple, and actually you can just copy paste this directly if you want. Similar script to bulk or generate many organizations. So these are just commonly used scripts. You can see the full developer documentation at dev.officex.app, and we'll be making a full series of developer videos to make it easy to implement. Again, just 15 minutes is all you need. That's Anonymous OfficeX, where freedom works. Add it to your app today.